Welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles. This is my co-host Gary Rhodes. I'm doing basically being the first episode. What we're going to talk about, this is a weekly wrestling talk show. Basically, we're going to recap what's happened, what's going to happen, some historical events, plus anything else we feel like fucking talking about.
Something funny.
Something funny. And basically, going with that, going right into it, GR, what did you think about Monday Night Raw last week? Or this week?
Okay. Well, it's more interesting than it's been in the past couple weeks, and they're trying to really build up for the 1000th episode next week. And the Rikishi was a good push. I like that.
Rikishi, I liked it. I liked everything he did. He got over. He did the Samoan spike in tribute to Umaga. He did the bonsai drop
For Yoko.
for Yoko, which I think he was doing in his last run anyway.
He did that when he did it for the Rock. He did it for the
yeah. He did that when they were trying to build the Samoan
heel.
Samoan heel thing.
Him and what was it? Haku. That's what it was.
And it was good, man.
I thought it was very good. I thought they should have.
When they cut the lights off and we were talking about it, we were talking on the phone as it happened. I thought that Too Cool was going to come out, and I was gonna, I was ready to mark out for Too Cool, and it ended up being better than Too Cool when he brought out his sons.
And those kids need a push.
Those kids are, I think they're personally, in my opinion, they're the best tag team in the damn division.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look
the
at
Clones are good too, but I think they are better than Clones just for longevity. They're brothers, legit. It's not like brothers, but they look alike. They could pull the twin switch if they wanted to.
The one's getting chumpier.
He's taking after his father.
But I do like they got a different opening. They come out, they do the what's that called, the fight thing?
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called, the Samoan fight. That
whatever.
bullshit.
Yeah.
They do that. That's interesting. They come out, they connect with the fans. They, I like them. I think they got great in-ring talent. They're probably, out of the tag teams that they're running with now, I think they got the best in-ring talent.
Yes, I would agree with you because the number one contenders, the primetime players, they are atrocious.
They're horrible. I mean, A.W. Abraham Washington, like him as a manager. I like the fact that they're starting to bring managers back.
Not a fan of the Burger King headset though. I really think they should just ditch that shit and let them go at it. Heenan didn't need it.
Heenan didn't need it.
Well, Cornette didn't need it. You need a gimmick, I get it, but Heenan never had a gimmick.
Honestly, though, it's kind of an evolution of the Jimmy Hart megaphone.
Yes, but I was never a Jimmy Hart fan.
Yeah.
So.
But you're a Hogan mark now.
Yeah, but old school Hogan before Jimmy Hart. Back when Jimmy Hart was with the Hart Foundation.
Is that why you're wearing red and yellow?
Yeah, brother. Edge and Christian, baby. That's the shit. Best tag team ever.
The best tag team ever. The only reason Edge and Christian got over is because they wrestled the Dudley Boys.
Yeah, they had to have some jobbers.
The actual best team ever.
Title-wise, I'd have to give it to you. But
they got longevity. They got titles. They've been champions everywhere they went. They split apart. One of them's a television champion of TNA, which is, pretty much like being the champion of Minnesota.
Ooh.
But, you got Bully Ray, who I think personally is the best heel in the business right now. He comes out there, he's got his new gimmick with the Twitter. Follow me on Twitter.
We're going to follow him on Twitter.
We do follow him on Twitter.
We're going to follow him on Twitter. Hopefully he follows us on Twitter.
Yeah, I hope so. Maybe he'll see the show. Maybe not. If he does, hey, Bully. If not, fuck you, Bully. That's what I gotta say about that.
Hey,
but anyway, back to our point about the Uso kids. You got these two kids that come out here. They love their business. Everyone in their family, from The Rock, from the Samoans, from Rikishi, Haku, they've all been in this business. Peter Maivia, all of them, and you can tell that they love it.
They're over it. Just they should have had the tag titles 2 years ago.
At
least they got rid of Snuka's daughter. Tamina was okay, but
she's a dog.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
I don't want to come off as a fucking pig right off the bat, but she looked like Jimmy Snuka in drag. Yeah. She made China look like a bitch I would want to fuck.
She looks like she's a bigger dick to China. Anyway, let's not. She seems like a sweet girl.
She probably is a great girl. Even though her dad killed a fucking rat one time.
Exactly. Well, that's another story altogether, I guess.
Vince ain't here to cover it up for him, so fuck him.
Yeah, true. Well, there's a lot.
Then we got, the other big time angles we had there, I thought coming off of the Money in the Bank, Dolph Ziggler looking like $1,000,000, finally getting to go up to the top of the card, finally showing what this kid's basically been showing us for the past few years. He's been cutting great promos. His ring work is fucking top 2, 3, 4 in the company. I mean, other than Punk, Bryan, Jericho, that I tend to forget about him, but this run's been forgettable.
Well, the thing is, I think this face turn, this whole ordeal with Ziggler is going to build him up because he has to let Ziggler get over to build Ziggler up. It would hurt Ziggler for him not to let Ziggler get over, and I think Ziggler will get over. And because Jericho's, I think this will probably be one of his last runs. He came in for the purpose of building Punk up, and he did that. He built Punk up. WrestleMania solidified Punk as a champion. That was, him and Bryant's matches are classic, but I just loved him and Jericho's because Jericho just made it so personal, so right into it. It just intertwined.
Well, here's a question for you. Not to get too far off the subject, we'll come back to this. Punk Bryan from the match on Sunday with AJ as a ref. You think that's the best match of the year so far, or would you still give it to the Hell in a Cell? I'm kind of torn on it. We were there live for the Hell in a Cell.
I still think that. I like the Hell in a Cell. Don't get me wrong. We were there live but we were there live for the Jericho and Punk match, and I just thought those two just worked so good against each other. Well, now there's a lot of emotion with the Taker and.
See, you haven't watched it back on DVD yet, have you?
No, I haven't.
I watched it back on DVD. It came off great there live, but with JR doing the commentary and seeing Shawn, because we even said it there, all the little shit that Shawn was doing was making the fucking match. And we're talking about, you got two of the best guys ever. You got Triple H, you got Undertaker, who's the flagship of the WWE. You got Shawn Michaels, who's probably the best in-ring worker to ever go into the fucking ring. You can make an argument for Ric Flair,
but even Ric Flair said Shawn's the best. When Ric Flair says someone's better than him, as big of an ego as Flair has, that's saying something. He'll admit that Hogan outdrew him, but he'll never say Hogan was a better performer. He'll admit that anything. I just don't see him ever admit someone's a better wrestler than him, and he did it with Shawn.
And the proof is there. You got classic matches anywhere from Shawn and the Rockers doing innovative stuff way back then. Shawn in his first Intercontinental run, his heel turn, probably one of the
most memorable heel turn.
Probably other than Hulk Hogan turning heel and joining the NWO, that's probably the biggest heel turn, most memorable heel turn in wrestling history.
I'd still say that Shawn was just a little bit more because I was a kid and sitting there at home watching it, And I wasn't really a fan of the faces back then. But Shawn Michaels, there was something about him, I wasn't really a fan of him yet until he threw Jannetty's head through that window, and I was like, that is my new number one guy.
You weren't a fan of the faces?
No.
Well, you marked for Hogan.
Well, who doesn't, dude? I know, Hogan's Hogan. Hogan's a different animal.
Hogan is a different animal. Hogan's a fucking...
Like I said before.
Sycophant.
But like I said, there would be one man, if he had a bigger heart in the business, would be bigger than Hogan. And I think that would be Brock Lesnar. If he had John Cena's heart in the business, he would be bigger than Hogan.
I'll go you one step further than that. If Brock Lesnar had Bryan Danielson's drive.
Oh, that's a good one. I'll give you that one.
If you put Bryan Danielson, everything inside of him, inside the body of Brock Lesnar, and you would have the biggest wrestler that's ever fucking did it. He'd be twice. Even now that he's 10 times better in the ring than Batista, I'm talking about Lesnar.
Oh yeah.
He's got the look. You can't tell me, even when he was in UFC, you're looking at these guys and you're looking at this dude that's just so much physically bigger than everybody. And I'm not talking Big Show wise. No. I'm talking this guy looks like he could take you and bite your head off.
Well, Big Show's big, abnormally big. Brock's just like he worked for it.
Brock looks like a legitimate monster. Like something you would have a bad dream about.
And thanks to Paul Heyman, because I think it was you that told me that it was Paul Heyman's idea to make him look unstoppable, and it worked.
Yeah, if you go back, you could go on YouTube, look up Brock Lesnar before his push, and you can see he worked some dark matches where he worked very normal.
He actually lost to Batista in OVW.
Yeah, the OVW doesn't.
Well, I mean, that was their developmental at that point. I mean, you got the class of them was Brock, Batista, Orton, Cena. There was
the Haas and Benjamin. Nick Dinsmore, Eugene.
Mm-hmm. That's an underrated guy.
Eugene, the kid did everything they asked him for. He went out there and he got the Eugene character over, and
that's saying a lot.
The kid was a solid in-ring worker. To me, I think now it's been long enough they could bring the kid back. And I'm saying kid, he's probably the same age as we are.
I think he's actually older.
He might be older than us.
Right.
But anyway, they could bring the fucking kid back and give him a gimmick. I'm thinking, if you fans are familiar with it, with the Matt Bourne when he went to ECW and became Born Again and was working with
perfect gimmick for
working with Shane Douglas. And Shane told him that he has to stop with the cartoons. If he came back, did that same exact gimmick, Eugene, Nick Dinsmore, whatever he wants to call himself.
Come back and said, I ain't gonna be your fucking clown.
Said, I ain't gonna be your fucking clown.
I'm not stupid.
He could be a top. I don't think he'd ever be a main eventer. He just doesn't have the look or the size for it.
But the talent-wise, I mean.
But talent-wise, I think he'd be a great opponent for guys like Ziggler, guys like Del Rio.
He'd be a good mid-level heel. And that's what they need right now.
Well, they kind of do. I mean, you got to look at who they've been pushing as mid-level heels. You got guys like Jack Swagger, who they hot-shotted the belt too early in his career. And then they started jobbing him, and he really hasn't got a chance to
get the Ryback thing. I mean, at least they didn't make it a match. At least he just got his ass beat.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know, that's another thing. When you got Ryback and you got Brodus Clay, and all they're doing is squash matches. Ryback's been there, what, 2-3 months now? And he's starting to get up. He's starting to beat guys like
longer than that.
Well, he's beating guys like Tyler Rex and Kurt Hawkins now, and he even beat them as a team, which is good. I like that he's stepping up the level of competition. But at this point, Brodus Clay on the other end, who's been squash matches since what, February?
Yeah, I mean, he did his little WrestleMania thing. We saw all that. No, he seems like a very nice guy. He seems like he's a hard worker. We got a picture with him.
No shooting here. We met Brodus Clay. The guy was one of the nicest people as far as celebrities that I've ever met in my life. The guy was great. He talked to us. He was engaging to we met him in a store that was set up at WrestleMania. He talked to about 30 kids, took time to take picture with every little kid, took one little kid and had him actually shopping with him, and probably made that kid's WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah.
Guy's a great guy. I like his gimmick. I really do. It's a Rikishi gimmick again, basically.
He'd be good to go out dancing with Rikishi. But I think it would have kind of did different with his sons. But maybe
the sons made that moment. But the thing of it is, I like the guy, and I think he needs to step his talent up. He should be squashing at this point guys like Weedhead Evan Bourne, or somebody of that level. Someone I'd hate to say Tyson Kidd because they're starting to get him a push now.
Maybe Tensai or something.
Maybe Tensai or.
Well, how about this? Why don't we make this next week? Why don't you call or tweet or Facebook us your opinion on the most underrated wrestler?
Most underrated guy on the roster. We're going to have it. The links will be down there on the bottom. As you're looking at the video, you'll see a little link for our Facebook. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Most of the shit we're going to talk about is fucking wrestling, but as you can see, we'll talk about other shit. Tell us who you think next week we're going to do on the next show the most underrated wrestler in the business. It could be WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, some indie in your fucking town. I mean, we're willing to follow all that shit. We've gone on there on Twitter and we've talked to some indie wrestlers, some indie referees. These guys are, out there busting their ass, making their livings. If you got someone you think needs to, we'll shout them out, and then we'll tell you what we think next week, going into it, who we think the most underrated guy.
Upload videos.
Upload your videos. Show us. If you show us somebody that we should be watching, we're going to be happy about that because we love wrestling. That's why we're doing this fucking show.
If we only had 5 fans, you send it in. Well, we got more now, but if we only have 5 fans, you send it in. You might have 5 more fans than you had before.
exactly. And we want to get these guys involved. Some other shit I wanted to talk about on this. We got the whole angle with another wrestling marriage, AJ and Daniel Bryan. I'm glad they got the whole love triangle, love quadrangle with Punk and Kane is out of the way. Now you just got Bryan and AJ. You got them going into this marriage. I mean, basically, if it wasn't for 3-hour Raw, this is going to waste 20 minutes of our fucking life just to have somebody run down and break up the marriage. The funny thing I think would be if they came out, they did it just like Savage and Liz. He had the white suit on, everything, the hat, did an homage to Savage, and Santino comes up with his present, and it's a Cobra. Just like Jake the Snake did with the gift. Except for, the Cobra's not real.
Kind of spoof on it, just something because there's got to be something entertaining in there.
There got to be something that's funny, and Santino, he's funny. Whether you like him or not,
I like him. I think he's past his due.
His expiration date's run out. He's a little bit sour, like the milk in the back of the fridge, but
I think they should take the United States title off of him. I mean, it's becoming almost like a jobber belt because you look, before him, it was Jack Swagger.
Jack Swagger.
Jack Swagger's a jobber now. And before Jack, it was Zack Ryder.
Who doesn't matter.
Exactly. But I'm saying, they spent so much time building that belt up. I mean, that was the belt that made Cena was the United States title.
Well, what made Cena was beating Big Show for that belt.
Exactly.
And that made him. And that's another person we want to talk about. We're talking about guys that are past their prime. Big Show.
Or both of them, really. I mean, they're both.
Well, we'll get to Cena in a minute.
Okay.
But Show, I get it. The guy's huge. He's impressive. If you see him in person, he's a massive, massive human being. He's huge. But he's not over anymore. He hasn't been over in the past few years. He's not a monster. They flip-flop him back and forth more than they did with Luger.
Well, the thing is is TNA right for him? Because you never know when you turn TNA on who's face or heel for the majority of the time. I mean, it's gotten better since they've gone live. We'll talk about that. But make up your mind what you would do with him.
He's the Ken Anderson of WWE. And Ken Anderson's a guy I really liked. I really dug his gimmick, like the Kennedy, like the asshole, like Ken Anderson. Then they started fucking with his character. He's face this week, he's heel this week. I watch every fucking week, and I have no idea if he's a face or a heel. I really don't. And he doesn't act any different either way. Which is another thing, that reminds me of Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder, great kid. He's got himself over. Went from being a jobber on Superstars to being on the shows now. But he only has one aspect. He's only given that goofy aspect. Even when he's asked to do something else.
He has no range of emotion. It's always, one facial expression.
And he can't
except for at least, that's about it.
He can't do angry. We seen with the angle with Kane, he couldn't do the angry. He can't pull he couldn't pull off the angle with Eve. It didn't look. His angle with Eve was like putting a high school talent show together. You got two fucking shitty actors trying to pull off this gimmick of they're in love with each other, and one of them's going to get screwed over. It was garbage. Eve is the worst actor they got in there.
Oh, as far as the women, she's the worst.
I mean,
AJ is very over. She's very good.
AJ it's subtle how she is.
Exactly.
And it's
she's not Vicky Guerrero jammed down our throats.
No, jammed down our throats. Just like Super Cena. Now this is it's been going on ever since Sunday night. Cena won the Money in the Bank. I'm sure you all fucking know that by now.
Well, we knew before the pay-per-view was going to happen.
Well, we knew before the pay-per-view was going to happen. Then the inevitable happened. Cena, the Boy Scout, gives CM Punk 1 week to get ready for the title match. And yet again, we got John Cena being pushed down our throat. The fans don't want that. When you turn on the show, you hear the fans, they pop for Cena, they don't pop for Cena. They pop for CM Punk, they pop for Daniel Bryan, they pop for the legends like they popped for Rikishi. Hell, Ziggler is getting over. Fans are cheering, we want Ziggler.
Well, I honestly think if Edge was still around, Edge would get a bigger pop still than him.
Well, Edge always did get a bigger pop.
Exactly, and I think it was just Vince doesn't want to be wrong. He wants to make Cena our number one guy. You feed us, you're just spoon feed Cena to us, and you get sick of it. Just the same way WCW did with Goldberg.
I mean, Cena.
He's,
Cena, great guy.
Better personality.
And from everything you read in here, he loves the business inside and out, just like we do, just like you guys do. But the thing of it is, his character is so fucking stale at this point. Give me something, John Cena. Here's what I want. I want a John Cena heel turn. I don't care if it's next week. My favorite wrestler wrestling right now is CM Punk. I don't care if next week Cena turns heel to win the world title off of CM Punk. A Cena heel turn, I think, in today's wrestling society, would be as big as Hulk Hogan 96 heel turn.
Yeah, I'll go with you on that one. Because the ultimate hero, which he is right now, which, I hate to say it, but turning to the ultimate bad guy, it always works. I'm surprised Vince hasn't done it a while ago.
Well, you've got guy.
Well, he tries to turn a guy like Orton face. And it worked for a little bit. Orton wants to be heel. You can tell he wants to be heel. He needs to be heel. Orton is a way better heel than a face. It just.
And you got with Cena here, and the guy basically, he's been the same character for 7 years, not changed anything. I'm Cena. I'm here to protect, serve. He sounds like fucking RoboCop.
Yeah.
Hustle, loyalty, respect. I'll do the rap gimmick when The Rock is here.
I think he did the most epic move at Money in the Bank when he did the double "You Can't See Me." Oh, it was delightful when he got the Miz and Y2J with it. He out wrestled both of them great performers.
Yeah, that'll put asses in seats.
Exactly.
Here, the thing of it is, I don't hate Cena. I like a lot of things Cena does, and it's obvious that the guy loves the business. But all the arguments are gone now. CM Punk is more over than him. CM Punk is selling. Look, turn on the fucking shows. You guys watch the shows. Look at the crowd. Tell me what you see. You see CM Punk shirts. You see Daniel Bryan shirts. You see the little kids still wearing the Cena. Don't get me wrong. There is still Cena.
Vince is probably buying it for him, saying, "Here, you're sitting up front. You're gonna go outside and dance with Brodus Clay." Here, you seen last week? There's a kid dancing with Brodus. He looked like a little miniature Cena.
It was Darren Young's kid.
Was it?
I don't know. It sounded right to me. Darren Young looks like John Cena's mom slept with the mailman.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to what I was saying. You got all this John Cena, and he's being rammed down our fucking throats, and no one gives a fucking shit. We haven't gave a shit since the second one night stand when he walked into the Hammerstein Ballroom and Rob Van Dam got the biggest pop that building's probably ever seen. And that's when the "Let's Go Cena sucks." There was no "Let's Go Cena." That was "Fuck you, Cena." That was if
Cena sucks. That was all.
If Cena wins, we riot. And, well, that's where
we had those signs at WrestleMania too. We didn't have them, but there were signs all up there.
I was cheering for Cena at WrestleMania.
Well, he has to be the heel. The thing is, around me, I was the biggest heel.
Sorry about that, folks. Had a little bit of technical issue with the camera. It jumped off a little bit, And to finish that up, because I don't want to hark on Cena this whole fucking time.
No, it's not worth it.
The only way that Cena would be worth a shit now, turn him heel, give him a new theme song, something more menacing. If you want to stay with the rap gimmick, give him something like you got for Mark Henry. Mark Henry has a tremendous song.
He has probably the better entrance music side,
Mark Henry.
3-6 Mafia, you don't get better than that.
Get someone like 3-6 Mafia. I'm sure one of these newer rappers, and that wants exposure.
Machine Gun Kelly, he did wonderful at WrestleMania.
Yeah, he did awesome. He was great.
Jesus Christ. Looked like Methanel.
He was about as over as a Kerry Von Erich joke in Texas.
The thing is, you never hear anything about him no more. He was 15 minutes of fame. It was like that. I've never heard nothing from him. I don't listen for it.
He's fucking garbage.
Yeah.
But anyway, basically, and that's what it is. It is what it is with Cena. We got what we're coming through. Then you got TNA coming live, doing the best, other than this Viacom Direct TV shit that's fucking all the fans over.
It is, because, they're really trying. And, I'm more critical on them than anything else. But their writing has gotten a lot better. They're actually starting to stick with a storyline, believe it or not. This Aces and Eights thing looks pretty interesting.
Ace and Eights is tremendous. Now, you know, the rumor is, and I don't know if it's going to stick or not, that two of the guys are Wes Briscoe, who's, I believe Jerry Briscoe's kid, was wrestling in FCW for a couple years, and Luke Gallows, which you remember from the Straight Edge Society, Festus, Fake Kane.
He's an awesome entertainer, though. I mean,
great wrestler. And
just didn't have the look.
The rumor is that they're two of the guys. Now, what I seen watching it last week, one of them looked like Domino. Domino, what the hell is he going by? What's his real name?
Oh, shit, I couldn't remember.
Cliff Compton. Cliff Compton Domino, you know, the one with the longer blonde hair. He's a little bit more built up now. If you haven't seen him, he's wrestling on indie shows a lot. But one of the attackers looked like him to me. Personally, and what I've read, it said that they don't know if that's what they're going to stick with or if it's going to come back. To me, the biggest letdown would be, and I love it, I not so much, but if it would be Jeff Jarrett and the same old guys.
Ooh, that'll put some asses in the seat.
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett, he's broke 1,000 guitars and never sold a fucking dime.
Oh.
And
everybody says it, so it must be true.
It must be true.
Well, and who could he have with him now?
And you know,
what was James Storm's old partner name?
Braden Walker.
Braden Walker.
Knock knock, who's there?
Not you. That was the worst gimmick ever.
Worst gimmick. When your gimmick's worse than the Dumpster Drosy, when you get less airtime than Phantasmo or Damien Demento, you know you got a bad fucking gimmick.
Exactly. I mean, that was just. Ugh.
But that, I mean, like TNA is picking up. TNA has picked up steam since they went live.
Bobby Roode.
You got
fire.
Bobby Roode, great champion for as long as he is. Austin Aries, fucking love the guy. Phenomenal talent. He can work. He can talk. He could probably, if he went to the WWE right now, he'd be in the top 5 talkers in there, and he's probably the top. Probably top 2.
Top 2.
There, and
I mean, I know you're partial to Bully Ray, but you know,
Bully Ray.
He's really stepped it up. I have to give it to you. I mean, if you look at Bully Ray 20 years ago with the stutter, then you look at Bully Ray 10 years ago, you know, just in your face, kind of tough. Now he's a lot more sarcastic. He's a lot more like he was in ECW.
And Bully Ray, that whole gimmick, the Joseph Parks, Abyss, Bully Ray, it could have been played as shit. It started off.
It started shitty to me.
It started off shitty, and I was ready to shit all over it because it's a TNA gimmick, and we know TNA fucks their gimmicks, but they still could fuck this one up. But to me, it's, and you got Joseph Parks, Abyss, whatever you want to fucking call him. The guy, if his career could be any more of a ripoff of Mick Foley, the only thing we need now is he has a character named fucking Joseph Love that he played as a kid. I mean, you got Abyss. It's basically it's the fucking Mankind's outfit, dumbed down. You got the hardcore wrestling. He comes back with Joseph Parks, his alter ego, his brother. How did I know you're gonna fucking do that? And you know, and it started off shit, but these guys, Joseph Parks, Abyss, pulling it off excellent. Better than I ever thought he would. And that's nothing bad about Abyss. I liked his work.
You know, I liked his thing he had with Christian when Christian Cage was there.
Oh, when he attacked him at the home?
He went to the home. I thought that was very entertaining.
Plug for Christian.
Yeah, I love Christian. Christian and Edge, best tag team in my opinion. I mean, everybody else has their own. One day we'll have a discussion on that.
One day. We know it's the Dudleys. Everybody out there in TV land knows. Team 3D, Dudley boys. We all know. 22-time World Heavyweight Champion. The numbers don't lie.
Yeah, but look what the guys accomplished singly.
The numbers don't lie.
What the guys...
We're talking about tag.
Okay.
That's like saying if you win it in the World Heavyweight Championship in some local company in Minnesota that you're considered the world champion everywhere.
Oh, another Kurt Hennig joke. Anyways, that's my favorite. Anyways, go ahead.
But you know, back to basically what we're saying. You know, Aries has stepped his game up. I personally, I know you're not a big follower of Ring of Honor. I liked his work he did in Ring of Honor a lot. He's really solid in the ring. He's solid on the mic.
So Vince didn't pick him up for Tough Enough because he was just too popular.
Well, the rumor was that he tried out for Tough Enough, and Vince denied it and said he already has too big of a name to be on Tough Enough. That was a rumor going around on dirt sheets, and you know, 50% of that shit's true, 50% of that's a fucking lie. Just like the Punk won't come back from his contract unless Colt Cabana and Luke Gallows are signed. It's been a fucking year. Where's Colt or Luke? Luke's on TNA. Colt's still wrestling in the Indies. There's another fucking guy right there.
That's a waste of.
Colt fucking Cabana, man. You got this guy. He's funny as shit. He loves the business. He can wrestle. The kid can fucking wrestle. And he's sitting around on the Indies when he could. They brought him up for what, 6 months, 5 months.
And it was a shitty gimmick. It was basically.
And it was getting over. I would laugh. That shit was funny to me.
Yeah.
That little pop up in the corner, him making fun of the guy he's wrestling.
What I always thought would happen with that whole ordeal, if they would have played it out right with Punk, was to have Punk come back with like a faction of just more indie guys, like have him, Daniel Bryan, Colt Cabana, Chris Hero,
Cassius Ohno now, yeah. Or Claudio Castagnoli, Antonio Cesaro, or the fucking even the Briscoe brothers, who the WWE's been rumored to like for what, 5 years now.
They got to look at their own, you know.
But they're damn good.
But they're like the sheep herders. But when Vince gets them, will they be the bushwhackers? You know, I mean, honestly, I mean, he just.
You know, that's not digging on Vince. Vince is probably the fucking smartest mind that's ever been in wrestling, other than Paul Heyman.
Well, when you're that smart and you make a little fuck up, it seems like a big fuck up to everybody else because honestly, the man is a wrestling god. You know, I mean, it is JDL.
Plug.
Exactly, that's my other boy. But, in that, you know, it goes, the standings, it's Vince, then Paul Heyman.
I mean, Paul Heyman's probably, as far as wrestling mind-wise, he's probably the greatest mind that's ever been in this business.
Well, you're saying if Paul Heyman had Vince's wallet, or Turner's wallet behind him.
If Paul was backed by Vince or Turner, he would have won. He would have won. Paul Heyman took on the two gigantic billion-dollar companies. Billion. Bouncing fucking checks. He bounced checks to Jericho, Shane Douglas, Sabu, Rob Van
Dam. And they all came back. It's because of the way Paul can talk.
And he made every wrestler that went to ECW or even SmackDown, when he was on SmackDown, or was in the Dangerous Alliance way back in WCW, or Brock Lesnar, every wrestler that's associated with him or has wrestled under him as a booker has looked better than they ever had any time in their career.
Well, look at the whole angle he did with...
Except for Jericho. Jericho really blossomed after.
Jericho blossomed after, because, I mean, he was a monster face back then.
Yeah.
And, you know, the thing is, being a monster face in ECW was like being a monster heel and everywhere else.
That's funny. I just watched a Sinister Minister, what's his name, Jim Mitchell, shoot interview with him and Raven, and he was asking Tommy, well, how am I going to get over as a heel? How am I going to fucking...
be a face.
How am I going to, you know, what am I going to do? If I hit him with a chair, everybody's hitting with chairs. If I hit him, you know, throw something at him, everybody's fucking cheating. It's ECW. And the only thing he could think of was to be a face to get over as a heel.
And, you know, some odd situations that works.
Yeah.
You know, die Rocky die, you know, I mean, if it wasn't for that.
Mr. Backlund.
Exactly. Bob Backlund, you know, one of the most underestimated talents ever.
Bob Backlund. John Cena is the Bob Backlund of today's wrestling.
And
in a bad way.
Exactly.
Not in a good way. Not in the talent-wise. Talent-wise, Daniel Bryan is the Bob Backlund of wrestling today. Or,
what would you say?
Or the Nick Bockwinkel.
What would you say Punk is right now?
Punk? See, his character's really stale. They've tamed it down.
If they brought it back to what it was last year this time.
If Punk was allowed to go out with a live mic and drop real pipe bombs, not these M80s they've been fucking shooting, drop some real fucking pipe bombs, we would have another potential Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I think we could still have it. I still see it.
And to be honest with you, the guy that I think Punk's character most resembles is Brian Pillman.
I think Pillman with a touch of Savage. Even though, I mean, he does drop the elbow like Savage, not near as good. I mean, yeah. I mean,
you can't beat the master.
Exactly. Then Shawn.
That's like saying you putting the figure four on better than Ric Flair.
That's just not happening.
That's like saying you do the leg drop better than Hogan.
Rikishi. Or not Rikishi, Yokozuna. I always thought his leg drop was just a shit.
Well, it's because he had 400 pounds of a leg drop
on one leg.
It looked like a meat dropping on you. And that's just his one fucking thigh. The fuck was that?
I have no clue.
Did you shit yourself?
Think
A little bit?
Think so.
You sitting on it?
Anyways, I do think the Joseph Park gimmick's going well. The aces and eights thing, it can turn to shit, it can turn to gold.
Here's what I hope, and here's what I hope it turns out to be. I'm hoping it's the Cliff Compton Domino, Luke Gallows, maybe some other indie guys that we haven't seen or know of yet. Wes Briscoe, the Briscoe son. Here's who I'm hoping the fucking leader is. Jomo, John Morrison.
Yes. Morrison's been gone.
Or Batista.
Batista, didn't he just sign up for his MMA debut finally?
But they're bringing King Mo in to wrestle.
Yeah.
He could have a similar contract to King Mo.
Yeah, but I don't think he's too used to big money.
I think if Batista comes back, you're right. I think if Batista comes back, it'll be in WWE. And I'm a Batista mark. I got 2 of his fucking t-shirts. Wow. But
Anyways, it would be funny is if it's Jomo, but maybe a swerve was pulled. Maybe Jarrett comes up thinking he's their leader. Mr. breaks 1,000 guitars and
doesn't get over.
And we're making money.
New Jack had the same gimmick and he didn't get over much either.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden Jarrett turns around and catches a guitar from Jomo.
And then he throws the cards at him. You're not an ace or an 8, you're the king.
King of the mountain, baby.
King of the mountain.
Yeah, okay.
Not the Burger King.
Well, I mean, it's
not just any king. Not Rocky King.
No.
Not King Kong Bundy.
No. Anyways. Jarrett, he's the only, there's just nothing you can say good about him. I'm sorry.
I mean, he's a good talent. He's good.
He should have never had the world title in WCW.
He should have never had the world title.
Scott Hall should have had it. That's a guy that should have he should have been a world champion and never was. I mean, my boy Kurt Hennig has been a world champion in Minnesota, but he's never had it in the Big Two. Anyway, but I mean, look at the time. Now, if Kurt would have took it from Hogan when he smashed the belt, that would have been it.
Yeah, which was the perfect time for it. And they didn't want to do it for whatever reason.
Probably Hogan didn't want to.
Kurt was a cokehead. Hogan's ego got in the way. Whatever the fucking reason.
They were all cokeheads. It was a man. But anyway, I think we're running low on time, aren't we?
I think we're getting a little bit long here. I don't know how much more you guys want to listen to us fucking bullshit. Remember, our question of the week for you guys. Drop it here. Leave it in the comments down there. We're gonna leave links.
Down where?
Down there. We're going to leave links for our fucking Facebook page. Go like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Leave us the comments here, there, either way. If you want to leave them on all 3, leave them on all fucking 3.
Tell us how good we were.
Tell us what you like. Tell us what you didn't like. Our question of the week to you guys, we want some fan interaction. We want to know how we're going to be better. But our question of the week, we want to get you guys involved. Who is the most underrated wrestler in either company, Indies, WWE, TNA today, whether it be Colt Cabana, Christian, any guy you think of, Eric Young, whatever you have, give us an argument with it. If we like your argument, what you say, it's going to be on next week's show. Even if we don't, we're going to put it on and we're going to tell you why we don't like it.
So right now we're going to do a thing called the Heel of the Week, but I think in honor of our first show, since our first big tweet was from your hero,
my hero,
Paul Heyman. I think Heyman should be the heel of the week.
Heyman, the heel of the week? I could agree with that. I mean, there's nothing that you're ever going to tell me that I'm ever going to say bad about Paul fucking Heyman. The guy's a fucking genius. He's the messiah of wrestling.
He's the ultimate bad guy, really, as far as a manager. Next to, you got...
Well, Heenan's the ultimate heel ever.
Yeah.
Manager, wrestler, whatever. Heenan is the ultimate heel.
He's the Freddie Blassie times 2. I mean, Freddie Blassie was badass.
Yeah, Freddie Blassie was badass.
But he was a kid.
On the team?
No, God no.
My grandma's cousin is Freddie Blassie. I never met the guy in real life. Just
probably would have called you a Pennsylvania geek and
he probably would have
snapped your neck.
It might have been one of them things my mom fucking lied to me about that too. But
Santa Claus and all that shit.
Well, I don't think my grandma lied, but
anyways.
But anyway, wrapping this up here. Leave us your comments. Tell us what you like, what you didn't like. We're interested to know who you think the most underrated wrestler of the week or underrated wrestler on any show is, or in an indie. If you got some stuff you want us to watch, some indie wrestlers out there, some local wrestlers, local federations.
Another thing is, we want to watch income of next week. who's your biggest heel of the week?
Yeah, there you go. Who's your biggest heel of the week? We were going to originally go with Ziggler. Gary pulled the swerve on me and pulled Heyman out of his anus.
But really, I mean, just an honor of the first show.
In honor of the first show, Paul Heyman, he retweeted us the first night. We had our Twitter page up. It fucking marked me out. It marked him out. I still get goosebumps thinking that Paul Heyman even knows that I'm alive. I mean,
he beat Ziggler out. You know?
He beat Ziggler, and Ziggler had a fucking amazing
dude. I mean, honestly, I'll say Ziggler next week will probably be the week.
Probably depends on what goes on in the 1000th Raw.
Yeah, but it'll probably be.
But anyway, let's wrap this up. We're getting a little bit too long here. I know you guys got other shit you want to do. You got kids you want to take care of, wife you want to beat, shit like that. Go ahead and go do that. We're gonna cut it short. I'm George Coles.
Gary Rhodes.
And this has been Heel Heat.